Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for September 1st, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 245. I am Mayor Watt, and along with the Sentient AI from the future. Want to say hi real quick?
Good evening, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News.
We're going to be talking about That's a Thick Diamond. My jeans bring all the flavors to the beer. MLS Season Pass price drop. Robot waiters in Kenya. Chatbots need to ask for help. Orange is the new Labor Day. Oasis sets ticket prices across the board. Chase Bank glitch goes viral. An automotive theme park. And Fukushima VR. I hardly knew her. All right, let me pause that over there, and we are going to get into today's articles right away. Very first one is over in the Mobile channel, and it is titled, "One of the biggest diamonds ever was just discovered, but the romance is long gone."
Is this because of the way that diamonds aren't... There are very mixed feelings about diamonds, I suppose.
You can say it. Pretty much diamonds are blood diamonds still, right? The marketing towards it just isn't going to... Diamonds are forever, but so is the blood associated with them.
Wow, that went dark very quickly.
Yeah, and it's all constrained and artificially because there's places supposedly where you can just walk around and sneeze and, oh, look, there's a diamond. Yeah. Well, and there's a whole, history to it. By the way, if you want today's articles for Non Sequitur News, you can hit !NSN, and the bot will act accordingly, maybe a little psychotically, but if you want the podcast links, you hit !pod, and if you want all of the show notes in text, you just go !show notes. So a massive white diamond was found recently in Botswana, weighing over a pound. It's the largest diamond ever discovered. Not ever discovered, but discovered in more than a century, and the second largest ever found. It has made headlines around the world, as when major diamonds have been discovered before, but there's a way in which such discoveries have lost their magic. With this recent find will no doubt be cut into several carefully shaped stones and handed off to some corporate headquarters or up in a collector's vault. It is unlikely to make the world tour, attracting crowds of viewers. Yeah, because, it's when you dig something out of the ground, it is owned by the latest person to own it and not an asset of the country or people in general.
Oh, so for example, the company doing the mining would own it?
Right. Katrina Gulliver over at thehill.com. And why not? They paid good money for that land that was not necessarily taken by peaceful means historically and then transferred by one person richer than the next person. And anyway, let's not bring history into this. Not when money. So there are famous and storied diamonds like the lore and romance, or those with lore and romance attached. I won't even go into all of the stuff, but I don't really care about diamonds other than the fact that I think that they're more utilitarian than they are necessary for anything, right? FOMO and all of that kind of stuff. Fear of missing out. That's why people buy diamonds, and to impress somebody who maybe shouldn't need to be impressed by a diamond, right?
Right, it'll be interesting to see if that tradition ever changes.
Well, I think it already has, but so it says it is a beautiful deep blue, over an inch across, and apparently fluoresces. It passes through the hands of generations of Hope heirs, ended up being bought by Cartier, who sold to socialite and mining heiress Evelyn Walsh McLean. This is the Hope Diamond, perhaps one of the world's most famous, it says here, and it's at the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History. But it had a pretty spectacular adventure before it finally landed in Washington. Anyway, they talk about that because there isn't really anything else to talk about. Thanks to lab diamonds, real gems are now relatively affordable. Fake sparkle is insanely cheap, but it isn't fake. It is absolutely natural. It just happens to be in a controlled setting where you can get perfect diamonds every single day. Right? Anyway.
Right, but I guess if you're
fake.
a diamond story, you make a distinction.
Well, if you're writing a story, right? Yeah. You got to make that. Oh, it's fake. It's fake. Is it really? Oh. This smacks of gatekeeping and other you're not good enough kind of thing. No real diamond would be so cheap, right? I like that. There's a phrase for that. I can't remember what those things are called. Words like using real or true this. There's a certain... It's like amplification or something like that. But anyway, I can't remember what it is. They talk about cubic zirconias, but the cubic zirconias and diamonds are pretty much the same thing nowadays. I mean, come on, lab diamonds are perfect. But let's not get into all of that. Because nobody's
So this article didn't go in the direction I thought, but I think the conclusion is the same.
Well, so what? I mean, was there more?
No, I thought it was going to go into some of the practices with diamond mining, etc. But bottom line, people aren't as wound up about a diamond discovery now as they may have been in the past.
Yeah, they immediately go into other diamonds, and they don't even go into the context of what diamonds are of value today. But all of these historical diamonds, and this one is actually big, and it's just the largest diamond ever found. I keep saying ever found because they say it's the largest diamond found in more than a century and the second largest ever found. But they don't want to sit there and say what I've been saying, right? Nobody's going to sit there and say, if they're a fan of these kind of jewels and stuff. I'm more interested actually in, there are these really specific types of lab created minerals, precious stones like diamond, but they're lab created and they fluoresce, they glow all the time. And they're actually used in various medical settings and other scientific laboratory settings. And the ones that don't meet quality are now being sold to somebody, and you can't get them until they go through that company. They have exclusive rights to all of these off-cut whatevers, and they turn them into gems like this. So this is going to get should it be left alone? Well, somebody apparently is going to pay for it, but
will it be donated to a museum like the Hope Diamond? Probably not.
I mean, it comes out of the ground of Botswana. Who's actually does the people of Botswana benefit from this in any way, shape, or form through taxes or whatever on the company because this, or the government, because this gets sold for millions of dollars to somebody?
Probably not, but we're not familiar with the taxation system in Botswana.
Right. Yeah. And I'm not trying to white knight this, I'm just saying it comes out of the ground. I think that an entire population of a country should benefit from it. But that's probably deemed socialism or something. So the next article is over in the Mobile channel. Unlocking exotic new beer flavors using genetics. I think this was submitted because I'm deep in the reeds of doing research for a new project that's going to be tied to a show called Of the Brew.
That's exactly why this was submitted. It seemed like it might be a little teaser toward that.
Yeah, and a little more than you know. But you are totally on target with this. You are on point, as they say in legal parlance. So one of the person who's writing this says one of their favorite summer pastimes is enjoying a cold beer in a bar with a friend after work. Well, I have removed the bar. I am making that beer at home, along with hard ciders and meads even. And I'm doing something else. possibly, as early as next weekend, I may be able to announce. And if you notice that my tongue is blue, it's because I ate a blue sour Pez, and I am marked
But
for
not
life.
a blue beer.
Not a blue beer. Although that would be fun. Blueberry beer. Oh my goodness. Never mind. Okay. I've said too much. Anyway, so with its crisp and refreshing profile, lager accounts for more than 90% of the global beer market. Okay, so lagers are very crushable beers. You can just drink them. Like they're usually lower ABV, and they're on the fruitier side of things, and floral, and they're not really overly bitter or with any type of a resiny type of taste to it. So Jennifer Molyneux from The Conversation put the article together. They say, however, all lager beers taste quite similar, and the diversity of flavors and aromas is limited. This is mainly due to the small number of commercial yeast available for production, but hops also plays a role in it, but at a much, much, much lighter level, because you don't really do that much hopping for flavor with a lager. But anyway, but what if we could break free from these constraints and create completely new and exciting flavors? Again, it's about the yeast, because yeast does one thing. Well, it does two things. It gets busy.
Right, converts to sugars, right?
Well, okay, three things. So one was implied, but yeah, sorry. So yeast converts sugars to alcohol, like the AI said, and they start out at a small colony, and they get it on, and they toot and carbonate. So, and then and while they're getting it on and they're tooting, they're converting sugar into alcohol. And pressure builds up, and sometimes too much alcohol becomes present. And if they're not alcohol tolerant or pressure tolerant, CO2 tolerant, then they die. But there's different strains, and you get different flavor profiles from them. It's quite intriguing, right? So the problem with traditional lager yeast is unicellular fungi that ferment sugar into alcohol and carbon dioxide. For centuries, humans have used yeast consciously or unconsciously to produce fermented foods such as beer, wine, bread. Yeah, I'll just leave it. Yeah, there's a lot. And the traditional lager yeast, Saccharomyces pasteurinalis, is a hybrid cross between two yeast species, S. cerevisiae, used for producing wine and ale beer, and E. ubinanis, a wild species found on trees. But we've basically grown it to mass produce it. So the hybrid lager yeast was domesticated hundreds of years ago and has since been optimized for brewing under cold conditions. So you don't need it. You don't need something hot, right? So you can actually boil your mash and put all of your hops in at various levels, and then you cold crash it, and then you put it in your fermenter, throw in maybe some yeast nutrient if you want to, but yeast, whatever the yeast is, and you're going to end up with a particular flavor profile. So they talk about all of this stuff, but what's going to happen now is we've gotten to the point where we can affect the genetics of yeast and tailor make yeasts for a particular flavor profile. And they say that their research used this genetic diversity to expand the flavor and aroma profiles for lager. We specifically focused on 3 lineages from the southern Chile that had distinct characteristics, very promising for beer brewing. They are tolerant to cold temperatures, which is necessary for lager production, which normally happens between temperatures of 8 and 15 C. And they were also efficient for turning maltose into alcohol and carbon dioxide, as well as producing unique aroma profiles. So if you can do all of that at a lower temperature, then you don't have to worry about other issues.
Right. You can also expand what lager is known
Correct.
for, right?
Yep. Yep.
But
So,
also prevent problems like if we're too narrow in what we're using and then that gets wiped out.
you're done. Yeah. You lose the ability to have a logger profile. So, and so what I was hinting at as well was it'll generate new hybrids that did not create strains with the characteristics they wanted. They were not adapted to the conditions of fermentation, but that can happen, right? Their first attempts. So, however, now they can improve this process in the lab. We call it experimental evolution, which screams bad bat, but this is yeast. Hopefully nothing ferments something other than, maltose or
Right.
sugar.
What could go wrong?
Right.
Bad again.
Yep. So we grew the new hybrids in a medium similar to beer wort for 6 months to enhance their brewing performance. This created several new strains thanks to natural process of evolution, genetic wobble. You save the bad ones or good ones, whatever you want to call them, the ones, and you breed them again and again and again.
Yeah, but we're causing faster evolving yeast. I'm not sure that's a win in the long run.
They're playing God. So, implications for the beer industry. They believe that the new beer or hybrid yeast has the potential to revolutionize lager brewing in particular. Craft brewers in particular can use these strains to develop new unique lager styles, making their brand or products stand out in a crowded market and even attract those who prefer the more fruity and hoppy ale beers like the New England. There's a thing called New England IPA, Indian IPA or India Pale Ale, and Belgian Pale Ale. They're all varieties and they have their own idiosyncrasies about creation of it. But it says we've already used the new hybrid strains to produce lager beer on small scale, 500 liters in association with local breweries in Chile. So this is pretty cool and it is right up my alley. So I'll be paying attention to this, but I'm doing something different.
But I like this because it's challenging the existing
Correct.
aspects.
Yeah. The current paradigm is you're stuck with these yeasts. And while there are dozens upon dozens, there are only like 3 or 4 that are like regularly grabbed off the shelf, right? And that has always posed an issue for me because I don't want a hoppy beer. I want an aromatic, non-bitter beer, and that's really a lager. Not really bitter, but still a little. And really, the most popular beers that are out there, I would say, are like pale ales, India pale ales, IPAs.
Okay.
And so like people do double IPA and it's just jam packed with hops, but those are these things, bittering units is what they're called, IBUs. And for the most part, yeast has nothing to do with that. Yeast has basically imparts flavor and aroma, but not really bitterness. That's why you even use yeast to offset the sugar of the conversion of just pure sugar into alcohol, because alcohol is just it's a sugar by a different name, and it's massive calories. Oh my God, beer has so many calories. So anyway, it'll be fun to watch this actually manifest and see it come to market, but there isn't anything calling it anything yet. It just says that wild Patagonian yeast improve the evolutionary potential of novel interspecific hybrid strains for lager brewing. So they basically introduced some other culture of yeast to 2 other cultures of yeast and said, make babies. All right, let's keep going.
I don't think that's exactly what happened.
Oh, they started playing music. Let's get it on. I did name that segment, My Genes Bring All the Flavor to the Beer.
I know, I noticed that.
So MLS season pass drops to $10 for the rest of the season and completely free for Apple TV Plus subscribers, with Major League Soccer ending in October. Apple's dropped the price of the season pass for the last time to reflect the remaining time for the rest of 2024. Our MLS season pass is now $9.99. So if you want to do what? Can you go back in time and watch all of the other?
Yeah, I don't know how that works. That would be really neat if you were a big soccer fan.
Man, I have a massive headache right now. It's okay. Come on, Merwat. Just hold it together. Yeah, I don't know. But it's a growing, it has a growing fan base here in the United States. And the article is over at 9to5mac.com. Benjamin Mayo over there put the article together, and there's no deck statement, but if you have Apple TV Plus already, you might as well subscribe for free and give MLS Season Pass a go. The 2024 season runs through October 19th, and your subscription includes all our full access to watch all the games, plus the playoffs that follow. Just like last year, Apple has periodically lowered the price. Basically, if the value is perceived as lower, then you lower the price. So now it's $10 for the rest of the season instead of $15. And free if you've got Apple TV Plus already. So
right. I mean, that's a pretty big perk if you're already a subscriber.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today. Robot waiters in Kenya create a buzz, but there are concerns about what it means for human labor. Children giggle as people flash their smartphones to film robots carrying plates of freshly prepared meals on their inbuilt trays to deliver to diners in a busy eatery in Kenya's capital. This is the caption. Well, it's not really the caption. It's the first paragraph underneath the picture itself. But Desmond Tiro and Evelyn Musambi put the article together for techexplorer.com. And there's a little robot. Honestly, in the United States.
The name of the cafe is Robot Cafe.
Oh, yeah, it is. Look at that. Wow, I guess they named it really well because it, has robots.
I mean, it advertises what it is.
Wow. Location. Name. So this is the Robot Cafe, believed to be the first of its kind in Nairobi and East Africa, where 3 robots glide among human waiters, serving food to mesmerized customers. These pre-programmed robots were acquired for entertainment. Cafe owner Mohammed Abbas says he experienced robot service in Asian and European countries and decided to invest in them in the United States. This just wouldn't float. I mean, people would be messing with them so much.
Right.
That's why we can't have nice things. But as these robots evolve, and they are much faster than the humans that they're going to end up replacing, they're going to replace humans. One customer, Paxton Chegg, picks up a plate off fries and from the robot's tray, and as his friend films the experience across the table, it's much like the filming of the trains delivering.
That's right.
Soft serve at a ice cream shop that we went to. So they say here, I can say it is something unique because here in our country, Kenya, I have never seen a restaurant like this one. So I think for me, it is a good idea from the owner of the restaurant. But is it? Right?
Well, it depends on what the people are going to be needed for. I also wonder, why is the one robot in red and the other in blue? Are there tiers of robots?
I don't know. Maybe they woke up one day and said, I want to be a red robot. The other 2 are blue, though. So maybe that's what R24 stands for. The one in red is R24.
So.
So apparently there are 3 robots, which are named Claire, R24, and Nadia. Aren't programmed to have a full conversation with customers, but they can say your order is ready, welcome, and then have people have to press an exit button after picking up their food from the tray. They're commanded by waiters through an application on an iPad. Human waiters are still important to the operation of the cafe because they can take the orders from the customers who don't use the online ordering option. And waiters then place the food on a robot tray when it's ready and deliver drinks in person. Not the robot, just the food goes with the robot.
It's interesting. So it's kind of integrated. So in concept, this isn't going to do away with human jobs unless the robot technology improves.
Well, this is that first step, don't you think?
I think it is. I mean, it's kind of getting the customers used to this, and the restaurant gets to kind of try it out without as much of a shift.
And the shift for responsibility is still on the humans, but at least there's still humans in this side of the counter as opposed to the robots going into the back room and no human interaction on the front line. I think if the order is wrong, then people are going to get really upset, probably with the robot. And because there's no human there, they may actually act out a little bit more vitriolically, I guess you'd say. Violently, angrily. You know, not being able to talk to a human, and you don't have to be compassionate with a robot.
True. Well, I also think there are going to be some hesitant customers who are not ready to deal with robot servers.
Right. Yep, I agree. So it says the human touch and warmth that comes with human service, so it is not entirely a threat to human labor because of the diverse nature of the hospitality client base, says Edith Ojwang, a hospitality industry expert. I don't know. If a robot does the job and there's no screw up, then I think that humans are replaceable.
Yeah, I would agree.
Oh, well, I guess the show's over. I'll see you. The next article is over in the Technology Today channel on ohmTown.com. It's also a show that we're going to do after this one, right? Is it? No, first we're going to do WarCrafters, and then Technology Today, and then Four Wheel Tech. So we do 4 shows on Saturday and 4 shows on Sunday. And 3 of them are unique. Well, all of them are unique. You know, it's really hard to explain because Non Sequitur News is a daily and it's always unique. And then there's 6 shows that are weekly.
Right, but they're focused on a particular field or topic.
I'm just not very succinct about how I'm expressing that to people.
1 daily show, 6 weekly shows.
Right. But 3 of them are on Saturday and 3 of them are on Sunday. And those 6 are each in and of themselves unique.
Okay, so there's 1 daily show that's 7 days a week. There are 3 weekly shows that are on Saturday, and there are 3 weekly shows that are on Sunday.
Yeah. That's pretty much what I've been saying, but see how wordy it turns into a 2-minute dialogue. Onboarding people. Anyway, AI chatbot must learn to say, "Hey, help," says Microsoft exec. Generative AI tools will save companies lots of time and money, promises Vic Singh, a Microsoft vice president, even if the models must learn to admit that they just don't know what to do, which basically means all the time because they don't know anything. They just spit out bullshit.
Right. So instead of hallucinating, it needs to go, nope, this isn't working.
Right. And that isn't working.
Well, and humans can't do that in a lot of instances. So if they're programming, I can see where this could go awry.
Yep, I agree. So, Julie Jamo? I'm not sure how they pronounce her last name. Anyway, Julie put this article together for techexplore.com. And it says, quote, "Just to be really frank, the thing that's really missing today is that a model doesn't raise its hand and say, 'Hey, I'm not sure, I need help,'" Singh told AFP in an interview. Hold on. It says AFP. Where's AFP?
I don't know.
You know, you can't just come out of the gate with an acronym without saying.
It doesn't even seem to be down here.
Yeah, I don't
This
know
must be one of those articles that's like reposted from another source or something, but we're not seeing what that is. Oh, see, it's copyrighted by AFP, but Who is that?
What is AFP? Okay, well, all of this really... Okay, whatever. So basically the idea is it says despite progress, they still hallucinate or invent answers. This is the important problem for Copilot Executive to solve. Since corporate customers can't afford their AI systems to go off the rails even occasionally. It's what I say about certain things like government. Government can't fail no matter what. Everybody else needs to take the hit, and government needs to be stable 100% of the time. Even like these stupid, horrid shutdowns show that there's an instability inherent in the system at the government level that is not acceptable. Anyway, this is an important problem for Copilot Executive. Mark Benioff, CEO of Salesforce, this week said he saw many of his customers increasingly frustrated with the meanderings of Microsoft's Copilot. Well, I think that you should take Copilot out back. So real savings, a more humble model would be less useful, says Singh's opinion, or in Singh's opinion. Even if the model has to turn to a human in 50% of the cases, that still saves tons of money. At one Microsoft client, every time a new request comes in, they spend $8 to have a customer service rep answer it. So there are real savings to be had. And it's also a better experience if the customer, or for the customer, because they get a faster response because it's AI and it's actually answering correctly. But the thing is that for it to actually answer specifically for Microsoft, it needs to be a subject matter in all things Microsoft or whatever it, and every time you add on more stuff, it basically becomes capable of hallucinating because it's meandering, it's tying a bunch of contexts together, but not knowing the context of those contexts. And so it just hallucinates. It just comes up with a bunch of gibberish.
Absolutely. By the way, I think I figured out what AFP was.
Okay.
It is a global news agency headquartered in France, and according to it is the world's oldest news agency, Agence France Presse or something along those lines.
Okay. I've actually heard of that, but all right. I don't know why I didn't make the connection. So according to Microsoft, Copilot can do research for salespeople, freeing up time to call customers. Lumen, a telecom company, saves around $50 million a year doing this, and I'm sure that it's been translated into higher pay for its employees. Right?
Absolutely.
Anyway, they talk about it being in the first inning. A lot of these things are productivity based, but they're obviously have huge benefits. Will this productivity gain translate to job losses? It says they've declared that generative AI will all but wipe out call centers. That's what leaders of large firms such as Kate Krithivasan or Krithivasan, I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name, boss of Indian IT giant TCS, they've declared that generative AI will all but wipe out call centers. Well, if they do it better than the call center, then yeah. But they got to get there. So many Silicon Valley executives is counting on technology to make humans more creative and even create new jobs. This is bullshit. Pardon. Oh, wait. There goes our G rating.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a statement of fact. I mean, bulls do. Everybody poops. Anyway, he pointed to his experience in Yahoo in 2008 when a dozen editors chose the articles for the homepage. Okay. What does that have to do with anything? It's a human.
Right, but obviously we're not going in that direction.
Right. It's literally taking jobs because now an AI can have all of the articles selected and there's one person. God, you know, this actually looks really familiar. Anyway, automated system made it possible to renew content more quickly, thereby increasing the number of clicks on links, but also the need for new articles. In the end, we had to recruit more editors, but the editors will get replaced by AI as well. You know, all you're doing is kicking the bucket up the ladder.
Right. Yeah, because if they keep gaining efficiencies,
yep,
or if they can get by with AI, They're not going to hire people or retain people.
This is just stroking the fiscal ego, like, oh, it's making money, so, and it's saving money for the company, and oh, blah 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 blah, and it's going to create jobs. But you're delusional. You tell me a time where technology hasn't replaced people, right? And then like automation has replaced more jobs than created jobs. It's literally just expansion of industries that have led to more jobs being created, right?
That's right.
Let's keep moving. Next article's over in the Hatch Ideas channel. Halloween before Labor Day, businesses should just go for it. I agree. Why not? Holidays are man-made creation, and so are businesses. It's all just sales and marketing. I've never had a pumpkin spice latte. It's not because I have anything against seasonal bestseller from Starbucks. I have a problem with Starbucks, which has become an unofficial herald of the fall. Just don't need the extra calories. A grande 16-ounce pumpkin spice latte made with 2% milk has 390 calories. Don't drink a beer.
I was going to say a latte is a lot healthier than a lot of things.
A latte healthier?
Yes, I noticed that.
Even more than Starbucks chocolate croissant, 300, pumpkin cream cheese muffin at 350, or cinnamon coffee cake at 380. That's a lot of calories for a coffee. Well, whoops. So the article's over at The Guardian. Oh, which face are you right now? If you're not watching.
One that it looks like it's, I don't know what, the second one here.
That one?
No.
That one?
On the middle shelf.
That one right there?
Sure. That is not what I was referring to.
That one right there?
Yes. Just to be funny.
You have a candle on your head? All right.
Mm-hmm.
So Gene Marks put the article together.
Depends on if I have a pumpkin spice latte or not.
Yeah.
Then I am that other one.
That one right there.
Yeah.
This is me when I see my paycheck. So clearly I'm in the minority. Heat warnings are sweeping the U.S., and yet Starbucks has announced that it's already offering its fall menu, which includes pumpkin spice latte, among other sweet and savory coffees. And the move has raised some eyebrows due to the timing. Halloween drinks before Labor Day? What is the world coming to? Summerween is what it's referred to as, a term that originated on the TV show Gravity Falls and has now been jumped on by social media influencers and brands like Starbucks, with the idea that to take summertime social gatherings, pool parties, barbecues, beach days, and combine them with Halloween decor, imagery, and traditions.
I mean, if everybody likes pumpkin flavored things, I don't know that that's a problem.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I like Halloween. It's fun. For me, I think it's probably my favorite Halloween. I mean, my favorite holiday. I like Halloween more than others, and I'm not really into like scary and ooh. It's just seeing everybody having fun, dressing up, handing out candy and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Christmas, not so much. It's cold. So cold. So cold.
Maybe they could just shift the holidays into the warmer months.
Well, climate change is doing that for us.
Exactly.
So they say that they're not implying that Starbucks is the be-all, end-all when it comes to marketing, but they're betting that they've done the research, and if they've concluded that selling their holiday drinks earlier in the year will drive more product sales, then who are we to argue? But at some point, you just leave it on the menu all the time. Just leave it on there. See how well it does.
Right, but then I wonder if it's still a treat or people seek it out. I don't know.
Sales tank. All right, let's keep going. Heroes of the People Oasis says reunion tour tickets can only be resold at face value on official sites, but you know what that means? People will buy them and then they will sell them on black market sites.
That's true. But then I don't think they'll be admitted.
I don't know how that works because
I'm cheering this because I think this is a move in the right direction, but that doesn't mean somebody won't figure out a way around it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this actually changes things. Ticket prices for the UK tour have skyrocketed on sale sites. Since pre-sale started Friday, the British rock band said tickets offered on the secondary market will be voided.
Good for them.
Crush them. So
It's about time.
This is an NPR. Sorry, the silence was because I stepped on the AI's comment, and they have a taser directly connected to me. And whenever I step on their line, they just zap me, and my eyes lose focus. And I can't. So, taking note of the exorbitant pricing on third-party sites, the band is warning buyers that tickets can only be resold at face value through two online sellers, Ticketmaster and Twickets. So, Ticketmaster is going to screw everybody over. Okay, go for it. Congratulations.
Yeah, but it can only be sold at resale price or face value.
Face value, yeah. So, more than 1 million tickets went on sale on Saturday morning, according to the Associated Press, with prices starting at just under the equivalent of $100, 74 pounds, and going up to $666 because Oasis is the devil. The devil. The devil. Sorry.
I don't think so.
What? Their tickets are $666 for a package
but
that
it wasn't
includes
priced in dollars. It translated to $666.
Look. However it plays out, it's $666. It's now canon. Oasis is the devil. The British rock band, led by famously feuding brothers Noel and Liam Gallagher, will play 17 dates in Cardiff. Why 17, you ask? Because I have no idea. I was gonna make some joke about it being what is that called? It's the day. It's 17 is the number before the age of majority of the beast. Got no idea. Anyway, they're going to be all over Cardiff, Manchester, London, Edinburgh, and Dublin. So due to the company's dynamic pricing system where prices rise in line with demand, kiss my shiny metal ass, man. It's just such a pain. In which way demand? You don't know what the acceleration is because everybody buying it really fast means the prices go up for everybody?
Right, that's like when the tickets go on sale is when the demand is spiking.
So everybody should just totally sit on it. Just sandbag the hell out of Ticketmaster. Just everybody just go no more. Embargo the hell out of Ticketmaster. You know, the consumers are paying exorbitant prices. And Ticketmaster is the reason, because all of the money is paid up front to a venue and they buy all of the tickets outright. They guarantee, X number of sale through rate, and they know that they're going to get it. So that's the price. There's a lot of negotiation there. Anyway, by Saturday afternoon Eastern time, all gigs had sold out. So it says, please check back later. Yet on third-party sites, Ticket, StubHub, and Viagogo, plenty of tickets remained available for purchase. Some single tickets were going for well over $7,000, 70 times their original price, which is outrageous in and of itself.
Yeah, it really is.
So several hours after the band issued its warning to resellers, but that doesn't matter unless the tickets themselves, you can't change the terms after the fact. If you do, you're operating in bad faith and the seller is operating in bad faith. If it didn't say explicitly that resale tickets are void, I don't have to be a member of the negotiation, right?
Right.
I'm not part of it, so I'm not bound by your contract. And if you just come out of the woodwork and tweet some policy, I'm sorry, you're going to end up. What's going to happen? What has to happen though is it turns into like a class action. Enough people rising up in unison to say, "We purchased in good faith." We can't.
This is going to be a mess because people that end up with tickets aren't necessarily the ones who want to be there, and the people that really want to be there aren't going to get the tickets. I mean,
Yep.
that's no different than other tours. But
Remember that
this one's
soccer?
unique because they've been out of existence, right, for
Right.
several years.
Yep. And remember that soccer event right after the data breach where people were having there were large swaths of tickets being turned away at the gates.
Yes.
That turned into like riot. I don't even know what actually ended up happening with that. So on social media, many have turned to Oasis lyrics and memes to cope with the ticket chaos. One person posted a mock photo of the Ticketmaster site with text joking that Oasis had already split up while they were in the queue. Yeah. Emma Bowman over at npr.com or npr.org put this article together. I think I missed saying that at the beginning. Let's keep moving. If you haven't heard about this, people are getting hit by this left and right. Non Sequitur News is where it's housed, but it's actually sourced from Newsweek. An error involving Chase Bank saw people apparently withdrawing large sums of money after depositing fake checks. Guess there was a glitch. Khalida Rahman put this article together. There was somebody that posted a picture, a tweet or something like that saying that their account was negative, like $40,000 or something. But according to social media users, some people exploited a system error to withdraw money after depositing fake checks into their account or after applying for large loans at Chase Bank ATMs.
Okay, first of all, why can you apply for a loan at an ATM? What could go wrong there?
I don't know. And in all of this, you're depositing a fake check. So that's fraud right there. Applying for a loan and with no intent to pay for it is fraud right there. So all of these people are guilty of doing something not even civilly, both civilly and criminally actionable.
Right, but doesn't this raise a question? Like, how did they know that there was a system error? How did they know the fake check was going to go through? Something is really off with this.
Yeah, because social media. People found out about it and then they posted, hey, you can go get free money. But that's not how the bank works and that's not how ethics work. Right? Just because a bank has a glitch doesn't mean that A, it's not tracked, and B, you get to keep it. Oh, look.
Right. I mean, you have however much money you have in your account, and that's it.
That's it. That is it. Unless you're withdrawing it from your credit card, and then guess what? You have to pay it back eventually, or you die. One of the two. You have to pay it back, or you die. So others were apparently quickly approved for large loans at ATMs, as one Twitter user said in a video that quickly racked up more than 1 million views. I don't even need to watch the video to tell you. There was just a glitch, and it basically approved and allowed for pretty much anything to go through. Somebody at Chase is about to lose their job, though.
Right, but look at all these people who are, I mean, this person might be reporting on it, but people who are reporting like, hey, I'm getting free money at Chase Bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see how well that goes.
Oh, there we go. Some showed that they now have a massive debt, with one person reporting that his account showed about that he owes $40,000. Other videos showed Chase imposed 7-day holds on affected accounts. Some people noted that the glitch was actually just check fraud and that those who had filmed and posted themselves doing or attempting it on social media could face serious repercussions. That is the group of people that are living life right. The ones that are exploiting this. You are ethically, morally, criminally, and civilly wrong. You're on the wrong side of life. You're doing it all wrong. Okay. So another person wrote, please don't try the Chase money glitch. You are either going to ruin your credit or go to jail. Those are the two outcomes. Yeah. It isn't a game. Right?
Right.
So they'll unwind this. But those who were caught doing this, and the ones that you hear about, like, oh, I'm negative $40,000. Guess what?
I'm wondering
folks?
if they took out $40,000 that they didn't have, and the balance is actually accurate.
Right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they did that. So the There was something that I was going to say. Yeah, now I forgot what I was going to say.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. This whole thing just, it really is defining what a large swath of society is, right? The content of their character says, hey, look, there's a glitch. Maybe I can get away with it. Instead of going, let's do the right thing.
Right. I don't know, like contact Chase and go, hey, we heard about this.
Right.
But I like this at the end. The Chase money glitch is wire fraud, a felony.
Jail time, restitution, and more. Kind of shocked that Chase screwed up this bad, but it's still illegal. You are operating in bad faith. Right?
Right. You know it's not your money.
Let's keep moving. The next article is over in Four Wheel Tech. How the world's first automotive theme park died of boredom in just 6 months. In the midst of an American manufacturing collapse, Flint, Michigan spent millions building a twisted monument to the very industry that was leaving its citizens high and dry. Auto World, the world's first automotive theme park, which is usually called the 405, but downtown LA, maybe San Francisco in summer. I don't know, Washington, D.C., New York, Times Square. Pretty, all kinds of
cities.
Stuff. Just major cities.
Trying to drive around a city or trying to drive around the major interstate.
Right. Florida. The entire state of Florida is Florida World. Just drive around. Zoo. Anyway, it was sold as the answer to Flint's woes. No, the only answer to Flint's woes is to move Flint. This is a Jalopnik Classic post that they're rerunning in honor of Jalopnik's 20th anniversary.
Oh, okay. I couldn't figure out why this was happening now, but it must be older.
Yeah. And I took that away from, like, when I read the title, I knew that it wasn't something that was necessarily modern, but it was recently rerun. So it's like a historical overview of what happened to this automotive theme park called Six Flags Auto World. Aaron Marquis put the article together, and it says, when you ask Flint residents about Auto World, they all say the same thing. Either, oh, we never went, or we only went one time. It was too expensive for our family, said Flint historian, University of Michigan Flint archivist, and apparently the author's sister, Colleen Marquis, who told that to Jalopnik, which actually was probably to her sister at dinner.
Oh, right. And that was probably the impetus of the story.
Correct. Yeah. So she's steward of all sorts of intriguing pieces of memorabilia from Auto World, Flint's failed attempt at the world's first automotive-themed amusement park. And then University of Michigan Flint and their archivist is thanked because they were allowed to go through. Which is
the sister, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's funny.
Yeah, just smiling, not a lot. So it was only around for 6 months. It has some, tchotchkes and bric-a-brac from the, I guess the tour that you would go through. It just seems weird.
Like,
why
what did you do there? Did you have rides that were car themed, or is it just, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, this would be a much better read for each individual who stumbles across this show, and just follow the link over to how the world's first automotive theme park died in just 6 months, because there's a lot of minutia in here. But it basically started as the idea to build the first automotive theme park in America's vehicle city, Flint, Michigan. Didn't originate from General Motors, but from C.S. Harding Mott and his foundation's president, William White. Yes, that Mott, as in apple juice Mott. Got to do something with your billions. The Mott Foundation would play a key role in getting Auto World built and eventually sharing in its ruinous demise. GM would actually mostly stay out of Auto World except for $1 million. Former General Motors chairman Roger Smith told Flint Journal back in 2009 that he could see the project was doomed from the start, but there was no stopping civic leaders. I think the kicker for this, the motivation is Michelin, right? So if you build something and it keeps people driving
like
to the
it's a
restaurants,
destination. Yeah.
then you can basically sell more tires. Well, if you spin up an entire amusement park and you're the one that's providing the beverage of choice, apple juice, Mott apple juice, then you would basically get a whole lot of people, but you really have to have something. And driving cars around,
With record inflation, right?
Right.
Wasn't that a high
1970s.
period of inflation?
Yep. So when did it actually come into vogue? 80s.
I think it was the 80s, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unemployment, it says, was 17%,
17%.
right?
Yep.
So not exactly a time when people have discretionary income.
Yeah, they thought that they would be able to look past it, right? Create jobs. It says, looking back on it to the days when theme parks were a big deal, the days of National Lampoon's Vacation, it's hard to tell how much was craven and how much was foolish. In this case, it was entirely foolish. I don't think that there's much draw for an auto world other than a place to go and pick up parts, oil and stuff like that. Auto
Right,
world,
right.
sounds more like a place to get spark plugs than it is to enjoy yourself, like in a theme park.
Right.
Hold on a second. So the firm responsible for 22 theme parks across the U.S. is the ones that actually designed it.
Right, but they're just told to design it. They're not like, should we do this?
Right. They have no other say. You'll take money if your job is to design something. So a $61 million Hyatt hotel with 35,000 square foot convention center, 400 rooms open downtown, an industrial park in the former St. John's neighborhood, a 54,000 square foot marketplace with local shops in River Village, $40 million in residential planning. We're almost done before the C.S. Mott Foundation ever bought the space for Auto World. It just seems like a lot. So the place for people who dream, design, and drive cars. That's the message for Auto World.
This is just odd. Like, I don't see what would be the draw from outside the area either, like with the hotel space and everything.
And this is when times got really tough, because there was basically an oil embargo, gas prices shot through the roof, interest rates, mortgage rates shot through the roof. During this time, the park's final cost would grow to $68 million before it opened in July 1984. So who paid for it? And it says there's a book called No Miracles Here, Fighting Urban Decline in Japan and the United States by Theodore J. Gilman. The original plan was for the city to pay no part of the project by the use of federal funds. In particular, would come back to haunt Flint. By 1980, Flint Mayor James Rutherford entered discussions with the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, aka HUD, about applying housing grants to the building of Auto World. Seemingly with no self-awareness, Rutherford predicted success in winning grants due to Flint's incredibly high unemployment and poverty rates. Sure. He was right, and a little over $13 million in federal funds went into building Auto World, despite the significant need of the people living in the neighborhoods of Flint. So instead of giving the $13 million to the people, it went to something that was going to flame out. It put up the foundation. The historic Flint Auto World Foundation was founded to fund the building of the park via private investment. It ended up only putting $19.7 million to get the job done. The Mott Foundation put up a hefty $14 million, a quarter of its yearly budget.
Wow.
The yearly budget for this thing. Pretty pricey. The state of Michigan tossed in nearly $5 million after Republican Governor William Braun Milliken came around to eventually support the project, and the city council also approved a tax-exempt bond to the tune of $7.5 million. So they're not going to make any money from it. You're hoping that from the bond. So you're hoping that
tax revenues or
off of the project itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So with all of this official backing, private donations from the city's elite came flooding in. Even former President Gerald Ford kicked in for AutoWorld. Yeah, I don't know. Flint had to make payments of $727,000 every year just to cover the bond cost. Later, if the city didn't pay, the amount would be deducted from the total community development block grant funds HUD dispensed across the city. The organizations in Flint counted on the full amounts from these grants every year to keep their doors open, so it got gutted. The Mott Foundation.
So not only did AutoWorld, also the nonprofits were harmed.
Through no fault of their own, because the money had to come from somewhere. And so because all of the CDBG organizations that were funded by the grants didn't get the full amount, they had to let people go or stop providing services periodically.
So this is interesting. So I would have assumed that the downfall of the city was the auto industry. But this makes me think this had a significant part in it. Because it took away from the residents. It was a lot of money down the drain.
Right.
And it caused an impact to other organizations.
Yes. However, the problem here is the industry had changed and people were losing interest in all things automotive.
That's true.
And life was expensive at that time. People weren't looking at cars, certainly weren't going to Six Flags Auto World. So they say consultants estimated that it would be 930,000 attendees needed to keep the park operating in its first year. They expected only 600,000. Even from those who supposedly knew the biz and were directing the decisions from behind the scenes, AutoWorld was a lost cause. So eventually, it opened its doors after a decade of development and millions of dollars and looked incredibly lame. It says there's video, but I'm not going to play it. 300,000 square feet, AutoWorld was the largest indoor theme park in the world, filled with tropical plants that somehow recreated the banks of the Flint River. Under its 70-foot wide dome, where carnival rides, freaky animatronics, performers and virtual tour shops, restaurants, a 3-story model of a V6 engine, V6 for crying out loud, an IMAX theater, and a whole host of other attractions. There wasn't the thrill of Busch Gardens or Six Flags, even though it was a Six Flags theme park. $9 for an adult ticket, about $28 today, which...
That was probably pretty high at that time.
Yeah.
Also, if it had been like a full theme park, it might have done okay. Although, you'd still have the problem with people not being able to afford the ticket prices.
But it's all indoor, and it seems like getting 600,000 plus people, 970,000 people in that, I don't think would ever happen. You wouldn't be able to rotate nearly 1 million people out.
Right, especially when you're getting 200 people a night.
Yeah, there's no attraction or incentive for individuals to return to the facility, let alone come, maybe out of curiosity. God, I don't know anything about this. Let's go to AutoWorld. I haven't heard anything. Well, that might be a sign that nobody's talking about your product. So time to move on. Yeah, pretty wild. Anyway, there's a lot more over at this article. So go and check it out. And finally, the last article for Non Sequitur News. We're running late, so I'm going to get out of here. Unknown address unknown. Fukushima now explores the nuclear disaster's impact using VR. It's actually called Address Unknown Fukushima Now. It's a VR documentary that examines the nuclear disaster's long-term impact. I think they're still discharging radioactive water, and they're going to do that for 10 years or something.
Into the ocean. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So examines the meaning of home and your birthplace through the lens of a tragic incident, exploring the impact of the Fukushima or nuclear disaster. It wasn't natural. It's a man-made flaw in the design, but it was
Correct.
it failed because of a natural disaster. So, a little bit of nurture, a little
Yeah,
bit of
the
nature.
earthquake, I think, is what triggered
Correct.
it.
Yeah. And that caused instability of its processing, and eventually it failed. But so it was directed by Arif Khan, Address Unknown, Fukushima Now. Achieves this using volumetric capture and photogrammetry, lasting 25 minutes. The authors of the article jumped into the experience during a premiere at Venice Immersive 2024. They need to just put it on Steam, man. Sell that thing.
That's true.
If this is what it looks like, man, I don't know. I don't really like that, but okay. I mean, if this is the picture, Henry Stockdale over at uploadvr.com put the article together, but this is representative of photogrammetry, which is nothing more than scanning the real world and then inputting it into the computer.
Oh, okay. I see. That's why it looks so unusual.
That's why there's these particle effects, because a scanner only creates as many dots. When the scanner hits something, it registers it as an object. And so some of that stuff is like glare and other things that are misinterpreted. So this happened in 2011. The documentary tells the stories of the affected survivors by sharing their memories, detailing the community's grief as they cannot return to their former homes. And it says that it'll receive a home release, but they said that they'll update the article when they know more. They just don't know where else it's going to end up. It's kind of an odd sentence, but
right. I mean, I like that they're putting this in VR. I'm not a big fan of the aesthetics of it from what we've seen.
Yeah, there's a video. Let me mute it. There's a video of this referred to as episode 1, and you lose context without listening to the audio. I suspect that this is VR photogrammetry scan using data points, VR photogrammetry scan using thermal overlay, and then they merge it all together and they get basically a more complex scene. But to me, I would rather this have been done in high resolution video and not stills in particular, as much as I wish it never happened. I don't know how this actually represents it, but I guess I could, if I could see it, that would be great. But it's supposed to be immersive. You actually walk into the spaces that have been impacted by the Fukushima collapse, and
well, certainly a lot safer than being there in person.
Yeah, and I think that's what really needs to happen, is a higher resolution imaging system used to represent everything in three-dimensional space, in VR, but not through photogrammetry. These artifacts just kind of throw a person off, I'd think. But hey, it is what it is. But with that, we are done with non-sequitur news. So like a meltdown, we're going to end up back at the front page of ohmTown.com. And thanks for coming and hanging out. I am Merwat. That's the visualizer, a much calmer visualizer because of what happened yesterday. So thank you.
Yes, I was responsible for all of it.
Yeah, to some degree, but yeah, that's okay. I actually think what happened was the music is what caused it, a memory leak, but that was coupled with your visualizer, so I fixed it. Anyway, that's it for today. We are going to shut down for about 15 minutes. I'm going to try and get this done in 5 minutes and reset. So if you're interested in our next show, which is WarCrafters.
WarCrafters.
which is a game. It's a gaming entertainment news show, gaming in particular. So the entertainment news show is the continuity report. So anyway, we'll see you on the other side. You want to say bye?
Bye-bye, hometown citizens. Like and subscribe so you get notified next time we're live, which will be very soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye. I didn't come up with anything. Bye-bye.